Hi folks, it's me, Hannah. Hey.
Okay, I know this looks kind of techy, but it's practical and it's functional. I got tired of having to pull up the straps, and also the straps that originally came with the bra. They were about half an inch too short, so the bra was like pushing up against my boobs, and it was feeling uncomfortable. There were times when I was finding myself inadvertently doing some shoulder actions in public, because I was feeling uncomfortable. So this configuration, I don't have to worry about having to pull up the straps or the bra being too high and stuff anymore. Yep, cool.
Okay, news update. It is time for Mr. Wiggles to turn into Miss. I guess I should pick a name at this point. Yep.
Luckily, I spent some time over the last few months coming up with a list of names. So the other day, I kind of jotted down many of the names on this sheet of paper, and yep, that's what I'm planning to use in this video to select a name. Oh yes, almost forgot. Yep, that was a name that I was missing on this list. The potential named candidate for Mr. Wiggles post-surgery. That's right. So I just filled it in. Okay, so let's see what we have here on the list. Miss Whippers, as in, P asterisk 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 Y WHIP. Oh, it's an option. Let's see what else we have here. Miss Whiskers. Yeah, Miss Whiskers sounds really, really cute. Especially if she had like a few strands of hair going straight out. And yeah, that would probably be kind of cute, I guess. But then, on second thought, I prefer mine nice and smooth. So, yeah, no Miss Whiskers for Mr. Wiggles post-surgery then. Yep. Miss Ravine. That sounds pretty, Miss Ravine. But then, I don't want her to be like a river. Yeah. What else? Miss Pleasures. Maybe post-surgery, Mr. Wiggles in female configuration might be like a plush doll, squishy, Miss Pleasures. Yeah, but then it sounds a little too graphic, I think. Alright, let's see what else we have. Miss Mongina. How about that? Mongina. Mons pubis, vagina. Mongina. Mongina sounds pretty, but then at the same time, it's kind of a little too obvious. Like, for example, I could talk about Mr. Wiggles on the phone with friends over here, wherever, and yeah, my friends would know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd know exactly what I'm talking about. You'd know exactly what I'm talking about. But Miss Mongina, I think it's a little too obvious. So, okay, what else do we have here? Miss Puffers. Maybe she's a little puffy, like a puffer fish. But then I don't want her to be too puffy. Alright, what else do we have here? Miss Wedgies. Definitely a no. Miss Picamon, I thought about Pokemon, and I was like, okay, how about Pokemon? You know, like maybe like, you know, Pokemon. That sounds a bit too perverted, I think. So, how about Miss Tickles? Miss Tickles. Yep, Mr. Wiggles can comfortably become Miss Tickles. Yep. Well, if she's too ticklish, then I guess I could name her differently. But I think for now, Miss Tickles is, yeah, it's a nice name for Mr. Wiggles post-surgery. So Miss Tickles it is.
Okay, so the time has come for Mr. Wiggles to become Miss Tickles in the very near future. Yep. Okay, so it's feeling actually quite surreal. I had wanted to get this done since I was like 4 years old. It's not because I hate my body, it's largely because female genitalia has made sense to me. Yep. Okay, so when I was about 8 years old, my desire to transition, I was still keeping it a secret to myself. But then it was getting to a point of feeling too painful just to keep that a secret all in my head. So I needed a way to kind of release the pain, and so I released it the best way I could think of. At the time, as an 8-year-old child, by drawing. Yeah. So I remember, on a slim piece of paper, one afternoon, I hid inside the closet in my bedroom, and I drew a sequence of like four pencil sketches of me. The first sketch of me was with Mr. Wiggles and his dangling pair of ammunition. The middle 2 sketches of me were like progressing phases of surgery of Mr. Wiggles and his pair of dangling ammunition. And the 4th sketch of me was no more Mr. Wiggles, no more dangling pair of ammunition, nice, clean female genitalia. Yeah, I enjoyed reading comic books and stuff, and so for me, to experience an illustration was able to do the trick in releasing some of my pain back then. Yeah.
But of course, I was feeling like I needed to keep it a secret, so I shredded the little slip of paper up into tiny little pieces and tried to flush it down the toilet. I eventually succeeded, but yeah, during the early flushes, the paper, it wasn't like sinking, and so it kept coming back up in the toilet, and I was like, Urgh. So yeah, that was frustrating, but nevertheless, the secret was saved eventually at the time. Yeah.
Okay, so there was a time at that time when I was about 8 years old, in the same house. During those days, I really enjoyed doing little hobbies and stuff. I enjoyed reading. I enjoyed doing rainy day book activities. Like
For those of you who may not be familiar with rainy day books, there are children's books with like fun do-it-yourself projects and stuff. Yep, especially like during weekends in the afternoons. I like to raid cupboards in the kitchen and maybe get a piece of soap maybe and maybe turn it into a little stamp, and I could just go around stamping, things and stuff. So yeah.
But that day, I was laying belly down on a little mat in the hallway at that house. I couldn't remember exactly what I was doing, but I could clearly remember that I was laying belly down that day, and I felt like a certain activity of what felt like my testicles ascending up into my belly. And I felt so excited for some reason. I was like, yes, they've finally come back in. And I ran into the bathroom to take a look. But to my disappointment, the feeling was not from their ascending, going into my body, but instead from their descending, coming out. And so I was like, man, yeah, like seriously, right. So a few years into the future, when I was about 12 years old, one afternoon I was reading a local newspaper available to me at the time. I suddenly found myself being filled with feelings of hope, joy, and relief. I was reading an article about a successful surgery performed on a patient roughly about the same age as me at the time. A male to female patient, where her male genitalia had been successfully turned into female genitalia. Yep. Okay, so that article helped me become aware of two things. Yep. One, being aware that my desired transition is not unique to me. In fact, it's already well known in the medical community, and that the medical community already has a procedure to convert male genitalia into female genitalia. Yep. Two, realizing that there's a way out, a healthy way out. My dream to transition is now an actual possibility. Yep.
Oh, it's a motorcycle. So.
So yeah, it's actually like the feeling is surreal, like the feeling of like knowing that it's actually going to happen. Like it's no longer a fantasy. It's no longer like a wishful thinking anymore. It's actually about to come true. A reality. Like I wouldn't have to touch like anymore.
So finally, a clitoris, a vagina, mons pubis, in other words, Miss Tickles!
Out of the shower, looking at myself in the mirror, my body's going to be like 100% female. My shower routines, of course, going to change a little bit in that area. In the absence of Mr. Wiggles. Yep. And of course, I'd be able to wear any kind of panties I want to wear. And talking about panties, I'd be able to finally go to a beach in a swimsuit. Yep. Swimsuit. I'd be able to get swimming lessons finally. I am looking forward to that.
And I'd be able to make sounds of a golden waterfall in a tropical paradise when I go potty. Yep.
Laters.